So I paused on 5.2 on that first page because I want to give you a chance to go try those problems when we are talking about just adding or subtracting polynomials. Now this is going to be 5.2 part B, where we're going to use some of those things that we learned in 5.2 part A, but we're going to deal with them in function notation or in a perimeter type problem. So I wanted to give you time if you wanted to go practice adding and subtracting and putting in descending order before we did these next problems. So we want to write an expression, so there's no equal sign, for the perimeter in simplest form. If you don't know the formula for perimeter, that's okay, because what is perimeter? I walk around the object and I add up all the sides, I'm going to have another x minus 3 here. I'm going to have another 3x plus 8 down below. So now I'm just going to add up all my sides. So I have 3x plus 8. I'm going to add an x minus 3. I'm going to add a 3x plus 8. I'm going to add an x minus 3. So all I'm going to do is walk around my object and add up all my sides. Now from the previous page, we know that we just combine like terms. So let's find all of our x's. We have a 3x and an x. We have a 3x and we have an x. 1 gives me an 8x. So I end up with 8x out of all those x's. Then we have an 8 minus 3 plus 8 minus 3. Well, 8 plus 8 is 16, and that gives me a negative 6, so 16 minus 6 is positive 10. And that is all they want when you're wanting to find the perimeter in simplest form, in just an expression. Now, if you know the formula, you know that perimeter is 2L plus 2W, because you have 2 lengths and you have 2 widths. If you want to use that formula, you can, but again, you're going to get 8x plus 10. Now, we're also going to talk about polynomials, but with function notation. So you need to make sure you understand we're still dealing with polynomials, but we're going to use function notation instead. So don't make this be more challenging than it is. All you have to do is add or subtract the functions. We have constant functions, which means we don't have a variable on the right-hand side. We just have a number, so it's constant. We have linear functions, which means x to the has a power 1. Remember, this could be rewritten as y equals mx plus b. Quadratic functions, we have f of x equaling ax squared. Quadratic means a power of 2. So make sure you realize when we talk about quadratics, we have an x squared. So please make a note of that. So what if I just wanted you to take my function f of x, which is 8x plus 3, my function g of x, which is equal to negative x plus 3, and I want you to find f plus g and f minus g. Now that's the same thing as saying, if I want you to take f plus g, that is stating take f of x and add g of x. That's all it's saying to do. So what is f of x? Well, f of x is 8x plus 3. I'm going to put parentheses. Plus sign in between. G of x. What is g of x? Negative x plus 3. Why am I using parentheses? Because I'm really substituting for what f of x and g of x are. So making sure that plus sign is to exactly like what we did on these problems on the previous page. But we had to write it ourselves. Did we really need the parentheses around the first polynomial? No. Did we need it around the second polynomial? No. But we write them because we're doing substitution. So we'll distribute a plus sign, but that doesn't change anything, so I get a negative x plus 3. And then I'll combine like terms. So 8x minus x is a 7x, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So f of x plus g of x turns out to be 7x plus 6. So they also want you to find f minus g. So that says f of x minus g of x. So again, the symbol in between. Be careful, definitely need parentheses. So the first term, our first function, is the polynomial 8x plus 3. So we're this. What is my second function? G of x, which is negative x plus 3. We need the parentheses here. We need that sign in between. first parentheses can be just dropped off. A negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative times a positive is a negative. And now we're just going to combine like terms. So we get 8x plus x is 9x. 3 minus 3 is 0. So f of x minus g of x is just 9x. Make sure you can do this with function notation. It is just taking your functions that are polynomials and adding or subtracting.